There's a chickadee in your yard right now who has been hiding food for weeks, one seed at a time, in a different spot every time. He is not eating most of it. He is storing it, and he already knows where. Most people never realize this, not because they don't care, because nobody ever told them what to look for. Subscribe to Bird Sense right now. This is exactly the kind of thing we uncover every week. And what this small bird has been doing behind your back, that is what changes everything. To understand what he is actually doing, you have to understand what he has been building inside his own skull. One flight at a time, every seed he takes from your feeder gets its own memory. And not a general one either, a specific one tied to an exact spot in your yard. Researchers have tracked chickadees, hiding thousands of seeds across a single season, each one tucked into its own unique location, and found the bird recalling a huge share of those spots weeks or even months later, long after the seed itself would seem forgettable to anyone watching from the outside. Not by smell, not by wandering search patterns, by memory alone, seed after seed, spot after spot, all season long. Some studies estimate a single bird may hold more than 5,000 of these locations active at once, quietly discarding the ones that no longer matter without you ever noticing. Here is where it gets strange. The part of a chickadee's brain responsible for spatial memory, called the hippocampus, actually grows larger in autumn, right as the hoarding season begins in earnest. New neurons form there. Old connections get pruned away and replaced with fresh ones sized for the winter ahead. Then, once the season passes and the hoarding slows down, that same hippocampus shrinks back toward its smaller size, only to grow again the following fall, right on schedule. He is not simply using memory the way you might picture it from the outside. He is physically rebuilding part of his own brain on a yearly cycle, just to make room for holding more of it every single year, without ever missing a season. No planning ahead in the way we think of it. No writing anything down. Just tissue, quietly reshaping itself around the exact demands of the season currently in front of him, which means the chickadee visiting your feeder this morning is not choosing hiding spots at random the way it might look from your kitchen window. Every single placement is a decision layered onto a map that keeps quietly expanding inside his head. Scientists studying black-capped chickadees found that each hidden seed seems to carry more than a simple location tag attached to it. The bird appears to encode roughly when it was hidden and what kind of food it was, so that older or lower value items get skipped over later in favor of fresher ones nearby. That is not casual storage happening at random. That is prioritized, time-stamped memory, assembled one hiding spot at a time inside a brain smaller than your own thumbnail, which means every seed sitting in your feeder tray right now is already being sorted into a system more organized than most people's kitchen pantry. Most people spend years filling a feeder and never once stop to ask where all of that food is actually going once he flies off with it. A large share of it never gets eaten in the moment at all. It gets carried off and tucked into bark crevices, curled dead leaves, gaps behind siding, cracks in a fence post, sometimes dozens of feet away from the feeder itself. Multiply that by every visit, every single day, across an entire season, and your ordinary backyard stops being just a feeding station in any meaningful sense. It quietly becomes a filing cabinet holding thousands of individual entries, each one placed there on purpose by a bird who fully intends to come back for it later, exactly when he needs it most. Most people spend years watching birds visit a feeder and assume that is the entire story, the whole transaction, beginning and end. It almost never is. But researchers found something they did not expect when they tested this more closely. When scientists shifted a chickadee's sense of its surroundings using clever spatial experiments, the birds did not fail randomly the way simple guesswork would predict. Instead, they made specific, patterned mistakes that revealed something deeper going on underneath all of it. The bird was relying on a genuine internal map, not simple landmarks, not scent trails left behind on old husks he had already opened. He is not remembering something loose like near the tree. He is remembering something closer to an exact coordinate, positioned relative to dozens of other coordinates, quietly updated as the yard itself keeps changing through the season. Move a branch, add a new fence post, take down an old birdhouse. His internal map appears to adjust for all of it, rather than simply breaking down the moment something in the yard looks different than it did the day before, which means the chickadee outside your window, right? Now is also keeping track of who might be watching him do all of this. Other chickadees notice a hiding spot being filled. So do squirrels, jays, and nuthatches. And every one of them will steal a cached seed the moment they happen to find it first. Researchers have watched birds pause and wait for rivals to look away before ever committing to a spot or shift their entire route the moment they sense they are being followed too closely, which means he is not only remembering thousands of locations scattered across your yard, he is also managing an entire second layer of strategy just to protect every one of them from being discovered by someone else first, day after day, without ever getting to rest from it. Every visit to your feeder is really two tasks, happening at once, memory and security, layered on top of each other so smoothly that from where you sit, it just looks like a bird grabbing a seed. Here is where it gets even stranger. A single missed cache can mean wasted energy on a night when a bird this small can lose enough body heat to die before morning in genuinely cold weather. Every correct memory functions like a small deposit made against starvation later on, and every wrong one is calories burned for nothing at all in a season that leaves no real room for waste of any kind. Some studies suggest chickadees lean less on the exact seed itself and more on the landmarks surrounding each hiding spot, meaning he is quietly building relationships between objects in your yard that you have probably never consciously noticed at all. A particular branch angle, a gap between two fence boards, the way light falls near a certain post at a certain hour, which means your yard, to him, is not really a yard at all. It is closer to a working document, constantly annotated, constantly revised, and never quite finished. Which means the next time you watch a chickadee grab a single seed and disappear into the branches overhead, you are not watching random, throwaway behavior. You are watching a small bird make a calculated deposit into a memory system more precise than anything most people carry around inside their own heads. He already knows exactly where he put the last one, and he probably already knows where the next one is going. Somewhere close by in your yard right now, there could be dozens of tiny hiding spots, invisible to you, that he is quietly checking on, one seed at a time, exactly when he needs to.